If you read Barstool Sports, you're evil. If you got a kick out of those Coors Light ads from the 90s.
Masculinity is power.
Maybe it was the jokes. Maybe it was all those kind of things that was the thing that people were a little bit disgusted by.
We've got a pretty good CNN panel covering masculinity to look over with some other relevant topics as well after JD Vance essentially claimed the left is creating idiots by destroying masculinity. So be sure to like this video, it helps us out a ton. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, we'll be back with any fact checks and context.
I think this is why young men in particular are so, they're so inspired by President Trump, is because he doesn't allow the media to tell him he can't make a joke or he can't have an original thought. President Trump just says what's on his mind. That's a damn good thing, and it's a good example to set for young men in American culture.
Masculinity is power, but I think it's power under control. I think it's knowing who you are and not having to brag about it. I think it's being able to take what you want, but having the discipline to actually ask for it.
Masculinity is power, but importantly, I think it's power with responsibility and control, not power that you're using to punch down. There's a reason why if a man beats up a man twice his size, he's seen as manly, but if he beats his wife, he's just seen as a cop. Here's the reason it's not a good example to set for young men in terms of how Trump is speaking. Trump punches down, and it sets the example that punching down is okay. Kids getting punched down on and made the butt of a joke is what leads to things like the story we just covered about the 11-year-old girl who took her own life after kids were talking about her parents being immigrants and ICE deporting them in the way that they heard Trump talk about it on TV. JD Vance, however, doesn't care about the children of ethnic or brown people, so he thinks it's a good example to set.
Trump also insults people in childish ways and doesn't take jokes well. I mean, these are also things that Trump does. I mean, is that the role model?
I think President Trump likes to exaggerate on a lot of things. I mean, we've seen it all along. But you have a situation here where you look at the campaign, the young vote was huge for Donald J. Trump. It was huge. And what caused that? And it's what JD's talking about. A situation where did Donald Trump go? He went to the UFC fights. He had Hulk Hogan with him.
It's easier to be a friend than an authority figure. It's literally that simple. That's why Trump gained so many young men. He leaned into those negative urges, that toxic masculinity. He told them to do the things that are socially unacceptable. He gave place to the people who wanted to be racist or misogynistic or whatever form of bigotry fit them, right? Where he not only allowed it, but he encouraged it. He showed the example of how to do it. Meanwhile, Democrats correctly in terms of morals, maybe not politically or electorally, played the authority figure. Like, hey, your jokes shouldn't punch down on that marginalized group. You probably shouldn't be racist. Women do deserve to vote. And like any parent knows, you're going to be more popular allowing a kid to do anything they want than you are setting boundaries and expectations, but you're going to be a better parent for doing the latter. Also, Trump lost the young vote, to be clear here, but he just slightly won young men by like 1 or 2 percentage points. He did improve on his 2020 numbers with them, though.
That the left really tried to define what bro culture is and foist it upon young men. If you read Barstool Sports, you're evil. If you got a kick out of those Coors Light ads from the 90s with the cheerleaders and twins, you're a misogynist. If you do drink beers with your friends and you do tell stupid jokes or say some stupid story, then you feel that way permanently. There is sort of no grace to the boys will be boys mentality. There are limits, of course, we know that. But I don't think there's been so much more less grace being shown toward what it means to be the sort of perimeter things of what it means to be a man in today's world.
Like, I don't want to speak for you all because I'm clearly, I'm a woman, but like, it seems like when accountability is introduced, that's when we get this entire lecture about what it means to be a man. See, the problem with Barstool, as you mentioned, maybe it was the rape jokes. Maybe it was all those kind of things that was the thing that people were a little bit disgusted by.
God damn, I love this lady and that they've started having her on this panel because she speaks what I'm literally writing down to say in response. This kind of representation of what the left does to masculinity or whatever is such a disingenuous way to try and downplay their very real criticisms of toxic things. It's not, oh, don't read things like Barstool. It's more like, hey, the kinds of jokes they're making about like making light of sexual assault and stuff is just way too much to be normalized. Like, as she points it out, you can tell he's uncomfortable just in her pointing out that that's what the joke was about. So why would we normalize people joking about it? It's not, oh, hey, this person made a weird joke 10 years ago. It's more like, hey, this person was like pushing for eugenics or doing blackface or openly calling themselves racist or has posted numerous Nazi things. And for the right, it's as long as they support our politics, us politically, our candidates, do whatever you want. Whereas Jamal, I believe her name is one of those two, as she points out, it's literally, it just comes down to accountability for men and for Republicans. So many young men don't want to take accountability for their actions currently or for their past actions. And the Republican Party is now the party of no accountability ever since Donald Trump came to power, and he can just say nope to anything he does or fake news when he gets arrested. And now nobody believes the 88 indictments, the 34 charges, the fraud, the sexual assault, all fake, no accountability for any of it. So naturally, that is where you would gravitate if you also want to be able to do heinous things, to say heinous things, but to take no accountability for doing so. Where, again, as long as you'll fall in line with every single issue, you can be racist. You can beat your wife, right? You can do sexual assault. I mean, look at all the highest ranking Republicans or whatever it may be, but I don't consider that masculine. I don't know why we would. I consider the party telling you that you're wrong for punching down on that marginalized group, that these people are wrong for allowing racists and bigots into their highest ranks, even when it's unpopular, is umpteen times more manly than making fun of a Mexican immigrant.